Hello, drifting world, and welcome. Uncharted territory. This is round 2 of the Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship presented by Blackview Dash Cameras. You can see it's a glorious day here at Orlando Speed World. We're here once again. I'm Jarrod deanda, joined by Ryan Sage. This is only round 2 of 8, but there's already some drivers making a lot of noise. And Ryan, how you feeling? What are you seeing here in practice?
Well, super stoked to be out here. You know, we've moved this round from round 3 to round 2, so that's a big change. We're out on the East Coast here. It's a little bit warm. The temperatures and the conditions weather-wise here can adjust at any given moment, whether it's rain, humidity, or heat. It's kind of a mild day today. It is expected to get a little bit hotter, and of course, we're going to have some hot action on course.
And if you can recall last year, it was an exciting battle here. It's a very unique course. I mean, it's oval, similar to others, but they're all very different, from Irwindale to Wall. The way the drivers are handling it. But let's backtrack, because again, we are at round 2, but round 1 was just really exciting. You know, we had the debut of some cars, some veterans, but the driver that came back in grand fashion was that of James Dean from Ireland.
Yeah, after a 7-year absence, he came back and absolutely just annihilated the competition. I mean, he qualified very, very high, was at #1 at one point. Finished #2 behind Vaughn Gittin Jr., and then just went through a bevy of top-notch drivers. So his absence did not take away any of the prowess that he had, and he certainly is the man to beat here today. The one thing that we're going to factor in is that he's not very strong or has a lot of experience on these banked courses, so we'll have to see how he adjusts to that. But looking at practice here this afternoon, he looks like he's on fire.
Yeah, I mean, just quick question. Do you think he dominated the competition because people didn't know what to expect, or is just that dynamic of a driver?
I think both of those things are true. I think that a lot of drivers didn't really know what to expect, and now they're going to make adjustments to that. But he's also is a dynamic driver, and he really showed that. He had his vehicle prepped appropriately, which against these vehicles that we have out here, 1,000, 1,200 horsepower with massive amounts of grip, that really is saying a lot to come out and win the first event. But it's going to be a long season. He's got a big hill to climb, and he's going to have to back it up with another good result.
It's really exciting. Last night I showed up and saw Pro 2. They had qualifying. Those guys and gal are really going for it. This track is going to make for some really exciting battles. But up until this point, as we said, our current points leader, only coming into round 2, is James Dean. Let's take a look at our top 10 standings. Ryan Sage.
Well, you can see he's out front. Alex Hilburn, another phenomenal event for him in #2. Ryan Turk in 3rd place, just right there, tied with Odie Bakchis in 4th, and Frederick Osbo in 5th place.
And then rounding out the top 10, Matt Coffin from the Pacific Northwest. 3-time Formula Drift champion Chris Forsberg sitting at 7th. Dean Carney, another Irish boy, sitting at 8th. Vaughn Gittin Jr., a former Formula Drift champion, FD veteran, and then a lot of eyes on Peter Vinchek. He's part of that Wordhouse team, rounding out that James Dean 1 and 2 combo. But at this time, we're going to bring in one of our Formula Drift judges to really elaborate on what they're looking for. Now, we're going to get some words with Ryan Lontaine.
Thank you, Jarrod. Welcome, everybody. We're going to be looking at the qualifying format now. Our event format for the weekend goes qualifying and then into top 32. Like I said, today is qualifying. So each driver does 2 non-consecutive runs. They're going to get scored on those individual runs. The drivers will be judged by the 3 judges that are up here. We have myself doing the line, we have Andy doing style, and Brian doing angle. And after that, we're going to go into the head-to-head competition tomorrow. And if we have any ties, they're going to be broken by the lower qualifying score.
So one of the things I think that is important to bring in at this point is to really kind of break down what you guys are looking for each of the individual criteria. Now, this year we have one consolidated map that really shows each of the different criteria and the points allocation. So why don't you talk about that?
So our new map is very colorful. What we've done now is broken the whole track down into sectors. The scoring itself really isn't going to change. We're just looking at the area before and after the previously scored zones. So again, nothing really too different except these different colors that we see here. This allows us to be more specific and more precise when we're judging the drivers.
So this map will give the drivers and also the fans an idea of what you guys are looking for in terms of line and also angle, but style is also a big chunk of the points allocation. What is style? And break that down for us.
So when we're looking at style, you're going to hear us talk about IFC. You're going to hear that a lot. Initiation, fluidity, and commitment. So the initiation side of things, we're trying to see the cars at angle quickly. There's a latest initiation point that we will denote at each track. Here, it's the 1 cone, so the last yellow and red marker on the fence. You got to be quick, snappy, and at that point with the initiation. Fluidity refers to the vehicle's motion all the way through the course, the rotation of the car, how smooth the car looks out there on track. And then the commitment side of things is how committed the drivers are on the throttle, how much they're using their speed and momentum to get the car to outside zones and to get through the whole course, really.
And one of the things that we've also changed from last year to this year, when a driver has failed to do what they're supposed to do and not adhere to the criteria, is giving them a 0. We no longer use that terminology 0. We call it an incomplete. And for qualifying, there's a number of incompletes.
Right. So incomplete runs, they're the same as last year. It's just a different kind of wording for it. Spinning out if you lose control completely and end up, spinning entirely on the track. Opposite drift. This is almost like a spin, but you're not completing that whole spin. You end up going the opposite way that you should be on the track at that point in time. And it's basically those two things are loss of control of the car. And then we have hood, hatch, trunk, or doors. Basically anything that's latchable. If that opens during a run, it's going to be an automatic incomplete.
All right, well, that does it for judging qualifying here. We've got a great day of competition ahead as we bring in the top 32 qualifying up next.
And there you see it, our first driver on the start line, ready for his first qualifying run, Kyle the Menace Mohan. Kyle Mohan, a longtime competitor in Formula Drift. Unfortunately, had some bad luck, not only at round 1, but also coming here to Orlando. From what I understand, the engine was out of the car, and he's been thrashing on it. But as we know, the rotaries are very popular here in Florida. So, if you're going to rebuild a rotary engine outside of his own shop, this is a great state to be in as far as rotary parts being, basically prevalent in this area. So Kyle the Menace Mohan, ready to turn and burn in his Mazda Trix, built to Apex, Mazda MX-5. Excuse me. Yes, the top one oil. Here we go. Again, built to Apex. Mazda MX-5 on Nexen tires, initiating hard. Ooh, tapping the wall. Oh, it taps it on the wrong side of the car, throws it in. It grabs him and brings him into the wall. That will be an incomplete run for Kyle the Menace Mohan. So, unfortunately, the bad luck streak continues. Our first driver, Kyle Mohan, showing you already out of the gate, this wall could definitely take some claim of some vehicles. So when we come back, we'll hopefully have the track cleared of Kyle Mohan's vehicle. Fortunately, it looks like not too much damage, but underneath the car, the corners, the suspension, he'll assess the damage and see what happens. So when we come back, we'll continue here, but already Orlando Speed World claiming a victim there on the wall. All right, so we did not see this driver at round 1. It's good to see him back. He earned his pro license. He earned his pro license last year, and he is a real dynamic driver from Georgia. He is Taylor Hull. As he warms up his tires, you can see Mohan getting towed off there. Hopefully for him, get a quick fix, and we'll have another opportunity to have a qualifying run on his second run. Ryan, how much are the elements going to play a role in today and tomorrow's event, even tonight at Pro 2?
Well, I think last year the heat certainly played a massive factor because we had a lot of moisture in the air, and it caused the 90-plus degrees of heat to also be much worsened by the humidity.
Yeah.
And this year it's warm and it's getting warmer, but there's not as much humidity in the air. Certainly heat will still play a factor, and this is a very abrasive track, so drivers really need to focus on their tire consumption and how much tire grip they're going to have coming through this last section of turns here. But I think for today, really just want to focus on getting down a good, solid, clean qualifying run, practicing your lead run for tomorrow, and getting a for sure position in the head-to-head competition.
All right, so Taylor Hull about to leave the start line, again originally from Georgia. Georgia boy, here we go. Taylor Hull on Nexen tires, throws it in. The Affirm Consulting and Asphalt Anarchy S14. Trying to get the outside zone, tighten it up. You can see that sector right there, bam, hitting the hash marks that the judges have put down over the years. Nice, well played, brings it out to outside zone, dancing on the yellow line, actually going just a little bit over it, and there is the finish line. There officially is our first full pull from our drivers. Taylor Hull, Ryan, what do you make of that run there?
Well, good solid start here as we take a look at Taylor's run coming through the chicane, and you can see right here as we pass through, you're going to see these markers on the wall there. Those red and yellow markers are the 3, 2, 1 initiation points. The drivers need to initiate before the last standing of those red and yellow markers. And of course, you talked about the hash marks here, Jarrod, as Taylor comes through the center section here. Just is a tool for the judges and also for the fans to see just how close they are getting to that inside clip, and also with the degree of angle that is going to be required. So good solid start there for Taylor, and he'll have one in the bag and one more to go.
A couple drivers missing this round of competition. Farouk Kawai, he located in Northern California, said he was out testing last weekend, unfortunately had some issues, so decided to just park it for another round, or, you know, it wasn't at round one. But real quick, Taylor Hull score there, a 65 for Taylor Hull, and is the firm consulting Asphalt Anarchy S14. So Taylor Hull gets a score on the board. But again, Farouk Kawai, getting some messages from him saying that unfortunately just made the executive decision, said let's park it, let's make sure it's tight and right, and hopefully we'll see Farouk and his vehicle, his BMW that he's prepared at Atlanta, which is round 3. So Dan Burkett, Rad Industries Next Entire Toyota Supra, great looking car. Originally from Washington, now living in Costa Mesa, California. As Dan Burkett pulls to the start line. Rad Dan, as he's known, his signature mullet and a signature Supra. You know, he made some adjustments to it in between rounds, changing up some of the alignment settings. He made a stop over to Juku Racing here in Florida, initiating into that first rear clipping zone. Nice job. Good consistent angle all the way through. You see minimal corrections from his front wheels. Now it's that first front clip, dials it in, transitions over that. You can see there's a little bump there mid-course in the transition, about the second hash mark. Not getting all the way out to that yellow line, but the car looking a lot more settled than Long Beach. It seemed that he was really struggling. It seemed to have a lot of grip in Long Beach, and it would straighten out. Ryan, what's your assessment here of Dan Burkett's run?
Well, I think we're really starting to see some of the true driving skill of Dan come out here as the car gets the way that he wants it in preparation. You can see this nice solid line here, just a little bit down off the bank, coming up into these hash marks here on that first inside clip. Good movement across that center section, doesn't allow the bumps to affect him too much. Now he's going to try to stay as wide as he possibly can here. He's kind of on a mid-line, so he's going to get a little bit of a deduction there. But overall, a pretty solid run from Dan, and kicking off his campaign nicely.
Dan Burkett, another one of the drivers that earned his pro license via Pro 2, and there's a 73 for Dan Burkett. So betters that of Taylor Hull. So currently our #1 driver. Next up, Alec Honadell, Urban Air Hoonigan Next Entire S14. Originally from Florida, from Destin, Florida, now residing in Las Vegas, Nevada. Alec, a very fun driver to watch. He seems to have just a good driving prowess, really hitting his stride. I'd say last year he got a lot of attention, even the year before, but progressing, you know, the car builds, basically his comfort behind the wheel, and just getting more seat time. So I think it's really paying off for Alec. But here we go. Here it comes. And there it is, Alec Honadell. Look at that, scratching his back bumper, that 2-up performance, but straightening out, now reinitiating. I don't know, I've seen the judges kind of thrown off here, and feel I may have cursed Alec Honadell a little bit here, talking about just more seat time and contributing to his overall program, but unfortunately, definitely having some mistakes. So let's take a look at this again, Ryan. On initiation, you see him hit the wall. You wonder if that just messed with, obviously, his line, but also his head.
Well, I talked to Alec a little bit yesterday. He said the car was running a bit lean. They were spending some time, you know, trying to get it dialed in, and that may have had an impact on just how many practice runs he was able to get at the level that he wants. We're seeing the judges here flash a 0 our way, so this is going to be a throwaway for Alec, unfortunately. But he'll have another.
So if you're tuning in just now, we are live, Orlando Speed World local time, just about 12:15. So thanks for joining us. Jeff Jones, Edelbrock Supercharged LS, under the hood of Ryan. You gave him the nickname Relentless, and that just seems to be his personality over the past few years.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We've definitely seen Jeff grow and mature and turn into an awesome professional drifter, and it's been really fun to watch his voyage all the way, and expecting big things from here today in Orlando.
Yeah, and he's podiumed here before in Orlando. He's, he competed in Pro 2 and Pro concurrently, and right now he's about to throw it down, and you see some angle being taken out of the car, but he just steps back on it and steps it out. That Doc X Hankook tires. Good angle, you can see him. You can hear the exhaust note, so consistent powering through it. So good execution there from Nate Hamilton. Or sorry, not Nate Hamilton, Jeff Jones, excuse me. Just thinking about Nate Hamilton's score of 77. Can he beat it? Ryan Sage.
Well, you can see Jeff has a bit of wavering here on the bank and then moves up towards that zone. Now back down off the bank here into that first inside clip. And then wrapping back around this second one. You see he's on that second hash mark there. Good throttle control here through this final turn. And, people say that this course is very simple, but it does have some technical aspects to it. And, Ryan, your impression there with Jeff Jones?
Yeah, I believe you're on. You are on. Jeff Jones with a 68. That is a 68 for Jeff Jones. Next up was to be Robbie Nishida, and unfortunately, Robbie Nishida, Jerry Yang Racing, he's from Tokyo, Japan, Robbie, a longtime competitor. He's on Achilles tires. He had the G37. He has a GTR that is to be prepared for this round of competition. It was not ready in time, and supposedly what I've heard, and I heard that from the judges, is that he had a borrowed or rented car, a BMW, but it's not here. So unfortunately, Robbie Nishida, the Achilles radial driver, the Bushido blade, some bad luck for him. So now we move on to Pat Gooden. Pat Gooden, who is a fun driver to watch, as Pat Gooden Huddy Racing, O'Reilly Auto Parts Hankook tire, Nissan S13. He's right here in Florida. And here we go. Pat Gooden, Hankook tires, spray 9. Transitioning through, nice job, big angle into that first front clip. Looking strong. And a very controlled Pat Gooden, seeming confident with his first qualifying run. Right, a 77 is the score to beat.
Yeah, so another good start here for Pat Gooden. You can see that initiation there right between the second and first standing cone. Pretty decent job on the bank. Maybe comes off a tiny bit early and kind of tight on that inside clip. And then right here on the second inside clip on that second hash mark. Now he's able to reach out to this outer zone here. Keeps those rear wheels very deep into that zone, and a good finish there. Ryan Lantain, from your perspective, we see you guys writing lots of notes up here. You have your paperwork that you are putting together so you can go back and reference things. What's the process of judging here between the three of you?
Yeah, we just need to make our notes. We've got to make sure that we have we have a score of 79.
A 79 for Pat Gooden.
That's a pretty good score.
That's a solid score.
Yeah, we just need to make sure we have everything written down here. So if anybody has questions after the event, we can give them feedback in terms of how we judge them and why they judge them. So that's what we're looking at. And
Ryan, you talked about it earlier, but Lantain, you're line judge. And,
I am line judge.
And the other judges, if you don't mind, elaborate.
Brian Eggert will be doing angle, and Andy Yen is the style judge.
Here we go. This is Dai Yoshihara, Turn 14 Distribution, Falcon Tire, Subaru BRZ, a Formula Drift veteran since day one. Here we go, coming down. Again, I'm really fixated on those front wheels. Minimal corrections there from Dai Yoshihara, showing off with the chrome wheels go round. And the Falcon Tire smoke, consistent turbo V8 power under the hood of the BRZ. Looking awesome there from the FD veteran, Ryan Sage.
Well, you can tell some of the distinct differences in the way that these vehicles sound. Some guys that are really on throttle the entire time, it really makes a difference in terms of the way you feel about the run. But you can see Dai here is adhering to a majority of the criteria as he comes through that first inside clip on that first hash mark. And then right here, perfect job, just right up against that inside clip. number 2, and then rides those rear wheels all the way around, accelerates through the finish line, and a pretty solid start there for Daijiro Yoshihara.
Yeah, that's my highest line score so far of 32 out of 35. He only had a couple of areas where he could have been a little bit closer, but the latter half of the track, he was right on everything, so pretty good score from Dai.
And it's reflected in his score, an 86. An 86 for Dai Yoshihara, a long-time FD competitor, Falcon Tire, turn 14, distribution, BRZ. And these chassis becoming very popular here. Jonathan Castro, Jarrod Metaldom, next in tire. Car operated by Papadakis Racing, Jonathan Castro. He's got a large contingent of Dominican Republic fans and friends and family here. And I'm sure they're tuning in, watching his wife and son at home as well. Proper line, looking clean all the way through. You know, this is where you're really splitting hairs. When everybody starts to just, you know, there's just little nuances that are better or worse than the other driver.
Yeah, a lot of the runs are going to look very similar, but it's really those little things that make up the big difference here. You know, just how much closer to that big wall are you? How tight and what kind of angle do you have coming through inside clip 1 and 2? What kind of throttle control do you have? When did you initiate? And one of the things, Ryan, that you guys talk about a little bit in the driver's meeting that I'd love to get your take on is there's a number of different ways that you can initiate into this particular course. You tell the drivers, we prefer this initiation over that initiation, and how is that different between qualifying and head-to-head?
We don't really care how they initiate. To be honest, we are looking for them to be as stylish as possible with their chosen method. We're not trying to control the way that they initiate because we feel that it's pretty important for them to show their individual style and for them to get their car to angle whichever way they feel comfortable. When it comes to tandem, we're going to have a little bit more of a discussion about the initiation lanes, but in qualifying here, they can pretty much do whatever they like as long as they get to initiation quickly and make it look snappy.
There you have it. All right, there's a look at our leaderboard now as Mike Essa leaves the start line. Jonathan Castro with a 71. That's a 71 for Castro, the previous driver, as Essa rolls into it with his Essa Autosports Achilles Radial BMW. Listen to the exhaust note. Consistent all the way through. You can hear him pinned. Look at that. I mean, just looking very poetic right now. And I mean, it was just white noise. Did you hear that? I mean, there was only about one breakup there as he transitioned into that second front clipping point.
Well, Essa is another one of those drivers where it's very clear the way that you can hear how much throttle that he uses throughout the course. You can see a tiny, tiny bit of wavering there on the first quarter of the bank, but he gets back on it here. He's able to absorb that bump coming off the bank very well. Now transitions very smoothly through this section of the course, right through the middle there, and then keeps the throttle on all the way through. And Essa is known as one of those drivers that puts up an insane smoke cloud, and he certainly did that right there.
It was funny, his initiation almost rolled into an 87. So now our current points leader, an 87 for Michael Essa, and that is sitting pretty for Essa. Next up, JTP, Justin Pollock, the Roush Performance Falcon Tires, Lucas Oil Ford Mustang. So there's our leaderboard. Essa, Yoshihara, Pat Gooden, Nate Hamilton, and Cameron Moore, your top 5 drivers. JTP, Justin Pollock. Whoa, throwing more angle at it, getting up close and personal with the wall. Mashing the throttle. Oh, big angle. Look at that transition. Putting some attitude behind the wheel. You can see him dancing with that yellow line. Just Frederick Osbo in this hot hatchback had a pretty good showing at Long Beach with the debut of it. Let's see how. Blending in the yellow car to the yellow line is Frederick Osbo, the Norwegian Hammer. Ryan, nothing big standout there, no major corrections.
No, I mean, Frederick Osbo is, known for, at least in my opinion, a guy that comes out and makes you work really hard to beat him in head-to-head competition. He comes out and puts down these incredible lead runs and then makes the mountain such a high hill to climb that you really can't come back. And you can see why here as this lead qualifying run. Really hard to nitpick here, and love to bring in Ryan Lantain to see if he sees any major mistakes, but that was a really solid run from Frederick. On the nose for me for the most part.
Yeah, that's my new line high score, and
really
a score of 90 for that run.
Wow, a 90. So 9-0 for Osbo, and that brings up a great point. Coming into this, we had 29 drivers, so already out of the gate, the number one qualifier is going to get a bye, and how many drivers are going to get a bye from the 32 into the 16. So that now, I was talking with Forsberg about it, and I think the drivers are like, sweet, if I don't have to do battle with another driver in 32, it's a bonus.
Yeah, no doubt. When you face up with somebody in 32, it's really a flip of a coin a lot of times with the level of drivers that we have now.
All right, let's see how Odi Bakshi's fares. Falcon tires, drifts wheels, V8-powered S14, throwing it hard into the wall. Nice job, the field suspension. Firing on all cylinders as well. Into the hash mark, you see the drifts wheels. A little correction there around that second front clip. Squatting down like a bullfrog. Just, again, a soft-spoken driver, but his actions speak louder than words.
Well, you can see Odi comes out of the gate here. Really, the only critique I see on the bank is he kind of puts more angle in the car towards the end by necessity because of the way the turn comes. A lot of times the judges want to see them come to lock on angle, and if they can, hold that angle throughout the entire bank. But the rest of the course is pretty solid for Odi. Again, right here, he puts that right rear set of wheels right on that yellow line and then through the finish line.
And we are finding Odi's score. It's an 85. An 85 for Odi Bakshis. Now we're getting to the top three drivers. These are our podium finishers from round one, the streets of Long Beach. In the Gum Out, Nameless Performance, Hankook Tires, Toyota Racing GT86. See Grid Life on the side. He'll be out there at that event. Should be a good time. Ryan Turk. Ryan Hampshire Turk. Live free or die. New Hampshire, here we go. Derry, New Hampshire to be exact. You hear him? The anti-lag firing off that front right wheel seems to be a trend nowadays here with these drift car setups. Squatting down, lifting it up. The 2JZ, not one but two. Hala transitions into the outside zone. Lighten up those Hankook tires. The 1552 wheels going around. Sage, what'd you see?
Well, a pretty aggressive run here for Ryan Turk. A good start for him, really mashing the throttle throughout the majority of the course. Gets started off with a good initiation. You can see that smoke line build up. Big smoke coming off the bank. He's staying on the throttle here through that first inside clip. Now good transition smoothly through the center section here on that second hash mark. A little bit of a tiny flub there. And then look, another driver that's running really low tire pressure. You can see massive smoke coming off there. It's really fun to watch if you just focus on that little section there.
It does, and it looks cool. Different wheels just create different kind of smoke patterns. But yeah, from a performance standpoint, you're right. That seems to, I was talking about the front right wheel lifting. But so an 80, what was that again? An 89. An 89 for Ryan Turk. A fond position for him. Alex Hilbrun. He had a big smile on his face. He's he came second at Long Beach, second at Super Drift, not once but twice. He's had 3 second places in a row, so he wants to get that top spot. Here we go. What he's deemed the monster BMW Supercharged V8 field suspension. He is on Nitto tires, brings it down, and transitions. Big transition, but it was kind of, it looked like a big flick, but really kind of slow moving through that middle course of the track. Inca Madness Racing IMR, as he is from Lima, Peru.
Well, Alex Hilbrun might be the hottest commodity in drifting right now next to James Dean. Not only did he have a second place finish in the pro round, he also had podium finishes in both of the Long Beach Grand Prix events. So this guy right now is on fire. He's got an amazing car underneath him, and starts off here with a pretty solid qualifying run. Where I really see Alex turning it on is into the head-to-head competition. So depending on where he comes in qualifying here, his side of the bracket will definitely be one to watch.
Well, a 90 is our current points leader, And now he does not beat that of Frederick Osbo's score of a 90, but he gets an 88. An 88 for Alex Hilbrun. Next up, our current points leader, Ireland's own James Dean, Wordhouse Drift Team, Falcon Tires S15. And, you know, James Dean, he went back to Ireland, and correct me if I'm wrong, I believe I saw he podiumed back in his S chassis back at home in Ireland. So this gentleman has seen a lot of success lately. See if that continues. The luck of the Irish is definitely on his side, but the talent of James Dean is most definitely favorable. See the abrupt change up in his line there, in his angle. Saw him kind of just fall like a little shimmy there, but nothing big. I mean, I think we're really scrutinizing him.
Well, I think, Jared, the key area here, besides the little scrutiny that you gave him, is the bank. Look, you can barely see the difference between his back bumper and that green wall. And as he comes off, he stays pretty stable through the center section here. Just right there, a tiny, tiny correction, and right there as well. But, I mean, these are very, very minor things in the overall scheme of things. And he's done what he did at Long Beach, was come out and lay down a very high-quality qualifying run and utilize that to his benefit in the head-to-head competition.
So looking good there, and he does not beat the 90, but just shy of it, an 89. That's an 89 for our current points leader. And right now, our #1 qualifier after everybody's first run is Frederick Osbo in that Rockstar energy drink. Nexen Tires Toyota Racing Corolla IM. So don't go anywhere. A short commercial break. When you come back, the second run for all of our drivers. Who's going to get those bye runs to keep advancing on into the top 32? And again, those top qualifying drivers are going to have a quick bye run. So a short commercial break, and we'll be back here at Orlando Speed World for uncharted territory, the second round of the Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship presented by Blackview Dash Cameras. All right, we are back, and we're about to see the second run here at the Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship presented by Blackview Dash Cameras. Talking about the second run of each of our drivers vying to get into the top 32, but those top qualifying spots, due to just being short of 32 drivers, are going to get bye runs. And I think that really puts a lot of pressure on the drivers to just up the ante progressively throughout the weekend. So again, hey, if you're feeling thirsty, if you're in the building, stop on by the NOS Energy Drink booth. Pick up a complimentary NOS Energy Drink. It's not free, it's complimentary because you got to walk over there in order to catch one. So NOS Energy Drink, giving out some beverages. Head on over there and pick one up now. All right, so so Ryan Sage, some updates on what transpired here as far as competition. Kyle Mohan calls a competition timeout, and as does Taylor Hull. So they were supposed to be our first and second driver starting from the bottom of the point standings. So we will revisit the second qualifying run of Kyle Mohan and Taylor Hull. And Kyle Mohan, it's do or die because he did not have a score on his first run. Taylor Hull does. So he will be in top 32 or in head-to-head competition tomorrow, as it's, you know, just shy of 32. We'll see how many drivers actually make it into, let's call it what is the first rounds of head-to-head competition. Dan Burkett, our first driver here, going for his second qualifying run. And Dan Burkett had a 73. A 73 on his first run. Can he better it? Rat Industries, Nexen Tires, Drift Motion, Toyota Supra. All right, he's in that drift motion right now. Nice job by Burkett. Like I said, by comparison to Long Beach, looking a lot more poised. That alignment seems to be working out, or whatever he did, or whatever changes, all-encompassing. He's looking way more settled. The car is pointed in the right direction, not really fighting the car. Great looking car. And we'll see if that betters a 73. Ryan, what's your assessment? You think that beats 73?
Well, definitely, you know, a good start for Dan here. He seems to be improving run by run. We've seen him in practice really do some amazing runs here. And look at how consistent he is up on the bank. He locks in on that line, stays super close, doesn't really move from that position. Right there, he has a little bit of a slowdown, but that's to be expected in that area, a tiny, tiny bit. Gets back on the throttle here, then wraps back around and finishes up, and I think he will better that score.
So we are finding out Dan Burkett's score, and it looks like it will be an 85. So he does better. He does better his first score, and Burkett, Rad Dan, puts down an 85. So solid job from him. As right now, hey, if you haven't already picked up your signature Takata wallet, you can. Find yours at TakataRacing.com, as well as autographed wallets by Formula Drift champions Frederick Osbo and Chris Forsberg, as well as FD competitors and professional drifters Ken Gucci, Mad Mike Wadette, and Ryan Turk, all running the Takata harnesses, signature green harnesses. Now could be with you at all times, holding all your essential items, autographed wallets, or just the Formula Drift Takata wallets at TakataRacing.com. Want to win a set of wheels from Centerline. Centerline alloy wheels as found on Chelsea DeNofa's vehicle. How? Well, tag a photo of you watching this weekend's event. Hashtag FD Centerline 17. Again, FD Centerline, and enter to win a free set of Centerline muscle car wheels. Again, as run on the BC Racing Nitto Tire Ford Mustang of Chelsea DeNofa. So fortunately, as we kick things off, Kyle Mohan is back out on track. Mazda built to Apex Nexen tires MX-5. He gets past the point of no return and holds on to it. That is pretty low on the bank there, unfortunately. We'll see if this is a scoreable run. Oh, so seeing something come off the car. Hopefully it's just a camera as we now transition all the way through. So I believe he's the only rotary out here in competition. And unfortunately, we'll see, you know, unfortunately he kicked things off, hitting the wall, but fortunately he's back out here on track, Ryan.
Yeah, and really he just needed to make a pass that was scoreable, and he did do that, though it got scary there for a few moments. Let's see if we can see that part that comes off of his car here. You can see really struggling with the vehicle here. Obviously had to use that competition timeout, and then right there you can see something fall off the vehicle. I mean, I guess for the most part, you know, it was able to sustain whatever fell off, but he will have to go back and make some repairs to it. He will be in the top 32 for tomorrow. The judges are giving him a score.
Okay, so we are finding out that it is a scoreable run. And for Kyle Mohan, that is a 5-0. 5-0. That is a 50 for Kyle Mohan. So Kyle Mohan with a 50. Taylor Hull on his second run. So Mohan will be seeing head-to-head competition. Taylor Hull will be as well. And he is 60. He has a 65 on his first run. And I said that Taylor Hull, Texas, Georgia, lives in Georgia now. Here we go. Taylor Hull, big faint entry there from Hull. Working his way up the wall, swinging wide as he transitions from the bank to the flat. Wondering what's going on with Hull. He called the competition timeout. And I gotta wonder, I don't know if that's the best strategy, Ryan, because he did have a score. He was in the top 32 trying to better it. Maybe more track time, because elaborate on the competition timeouts.
Yeah, I don't think I would have called a competition timeout in that particular instance. I think I would have just sacrificed that run, because I've already have a run. I know I'm in the top 32, and now I don't have that for tomorrow. So maybe just a tiny bit of a mistake there for Taylor. And unfortunately, you know, I don't know that he is going to better his first run either. So we'll have to see how that goes for the judges. But he will be out a competition timeout for tomorrow.
A 64 for Taylor Hull as Alec Honadale warms up his Nexen tires. Noted. Alec Honadale is about to throw down as Honadale on his first run had a 0. Yeah, he had a 0 on his first run. So Honadale needs to put down a run here. Otherwise, we will not see him in the top 32 bracket. That's very low on the bank. Ryan, he talked about how he was running lean, but right now he's running low. But we'll see if that is still a scoreable run. I mean, he's really throwing down here in the latter portion of the course. So Honadale, Urban Air, Hoonigan, Nexen Tires, S14 from Destin, Florida. Ryan, you said he was running lean when you had a conversation with him. What's your take?
Well, I think, you know, he's got to be under a tremendous amount of pressure. I don't know what happened to the vehicle after we had a chat yesterday during practice, but after that 0 run in run number 1, certainly has quite a bit of pressure on himself to perform here, and it's not going to be the greatest run, but he will get into 32, and that's really all that matters, and he'll have some time to be able to go back and talk to his team and figure out what he needs to do as this run concludes.
And that is a 60 for Alec Honadale. Fortunately for him, he will be in competition. So as of right now, it looks like we will be seeing 27, 28, 29 drivers in competition, because every driver does have a score. So basically the top 3 drivers will have bye runs in the top 32 bracket, and that's unofficial. But just to clarify, that's with every driver having a score that is available to run. So again, here we go. Cameron Moore with his second run, and Cameron Moore, Ryan, looking at his score, he had a 75. Thank you, a 75 from the Butcher in his GT86. Over the bump there, you see just kind of some flick of those front wheels, but puts, as far as line, definitely putting the car right where it needs to be. So Cameron Moore from Battleground, Washington, the Butcher. I mean, man, all things lining up there. Sounds like a really mean dude on paper.
Well, I suspect that we're going to see a lot of drivers really turn it on here in run number 2, especially those that have a score, that are looking to try and get into a very competitive part of the bracket for them. You can see Moore here. Looks like he will probably improve on the 75. You can see as he comes across that second inside clip, he locks into this zone early and stays on the zone all the way around. Full lock there, and nice job by Cameron Moore.
So, like I said, you know, a Butcher by day, so his day job is that. Battleground Washington, a 78 for Cameron Moore. Oh, I am just corrected there. It's a 79, so I was misinformed there initially, but so he gets one more point with that correction. 79 for Cameron Moore. All right, telephone game here as we are calling up the wall with Chelsea DeNopa's Ford Mustang. Oh, big angle. Taking out that front clip. He holds on to, transitions back. This is the Chelsea DeNopa that everybody, Ryan, you said was dangerous. He's looking more dangerous actually on the track and against the track versus the competitors. And wow, that looked insane-o.
Yeah, I don't even really think it matters what score Chelsea gets on the run, because it's just plain fun to watch.
Right.
And you know it's going to be awesome in competition. In fact, that's probably what I would put on my score, you know, for overall impact. Just awesome.
Yeah.
You can see right there just a big mistake, but really it comes down to the fact of just how aggressive and how much he's pushing the vehicle. And then he gets back on it here at a very smooth, consistent line, massive angle through the finish line here. So Denofa, certainly one to watch, and every single run has been getting more and more fun.
Like if you look up, you know, the kids say turnt nowadays. That would be the definition of turnt from a drifting perspective. You got T, earn, T, turnt. So as Chelsea Denofa awaiting his score, an 88. Look at that. His car number is 88. Big fan of Back to the Future, and that's his homage. And look at that. He gets an 88 on the board. He does better his first score, correct? He had a 69 on his first score. So most definitely bettering it with an 88. So congratulations to him. Another BC Racing suspension shrouded vehicle, Little Tex, Nate Hamilton. Nate Hamilton had a 77 on his first run. And actually, I'm mistaken. There was another driver that did not have a run on his first or a score, and that's Robbie Nishida. So I was mistaken. That's why I said unofficially. Never hold me to it. But right now, Little Tex, Nate Hamilton, in Juku Racing, Hankook Tires, BC Racing, car number 144, Little Tex, about to have his way with this track on a second run. Currently sitting on a 77. Leaving the start line. A little feint, little pre-drift into the wall. Putting more angle into that S chassis. Now into that front clip, very close. Nice execution there. About the first hash mark. Now brings it into that outer zone right at the yellow line. Big angle across the finish line. Very clean, consistent. Good angle. No major corrections from those front wheels. Looking good.
Yeah, so Nate Hamilton here coming in at a 77 on run number 1, looking to better that. You can see nice job on the bank here. He kind of locks into that line, throws a little bit more angle on the car coming down off the bank now. Nice and tight on that first inside clip. Good fluid motion back around right on that second hash mark here. Like to see him touch out to that zone a little bit earlier, but locks in and stays all the way on.
And Ryan Sage and Ryan Lontaine, an 84. Betters his 77 and 84 for Little Tex, Nate Hamilton. As Jeff Jones, really proud of showing off his supercharger. You know, he's been turbo for previous years, and now showing off this Edelbrock supercharger. It's really flat. It sits under the hood. I mean, you can't see any indication that it's supercharged outside of the noise, but it's a really cool design, and stoked that, again, to see Jeff Jones' program really progress. Doc X, Hankook Tires, Megan Racing, Edelbrock. Here we go. Jeff Jones. Jeff Jones had a 68 on his first run. Really sticking it to the wall is Jones. Not too disrupted. You can see the front wheels correct a little bit as he wrapped it around that second front clipping point. You can see the yellow line a little bit there, but then just brings it back in. And there it is for Jones. A 68 on his first run. What's he got in a second?
Well, coming through the chicane, you can see here he's going to initiate right at that last standing orange and red marker on the wall. Has a little tiny hiccup on initiation, but then locks in on this line. Now coming down off the bank here. Pretty nice and tight on that first inside clip. A little bit wide there on that second inside clip. And then right here, those rear wheels just right on that back line, trying to get up on that wall. And Jeff Jones looking to better that 68.
All right. And does he do it as Pat Gooden? An 81, an 81. So he does. So all the drivers really stepping it up, going for those top spots. All right, so Pat Gooden, our next driver. That means Robbie Nishida, the Achilles radial driver, is unable to run in tomorrow's top 32 bracket. Right now, it's Pat Gooden, Spray 9, Gum Out, Hankook Tires, S13. Pat Gooden is 79. He's used to this track. He's driven numerous times outside of even Formula Drift competition as he resides here in Florida. And here we go. Pat Gooden, passionate Pat, throwing it in. Do it for Dale and do it for Donna. Yeah, get tight to the wall. Well played by Gooden. Into the second front clip. Standing on the throttle and pulling all the way through in that Huddy Racing S13. Look at that, powering all the way. And then some for Pat Gooden. Nice job.
Well, as predicted, we're starting to see those numbers in run number 2 tick up for a lot of the drivers, and Pat Gooden with that 79 on his first run, looking to get into those 80s here and set his position. You can see he does a pretty good job on the bank, coming down nice and tight on that first inside clip. It's going to be a tiny bit long on that second inside clip. We've seen that for a few drivers, but then again locks in on this last outer zone here, rocks on through, and it should be enough to get him past 79.
An 83. An 83 for Pat Gooden. Betters is 79. So these guys all stepping it up, as you just said, Sage. Daijiro Yoshihara, an 86. That Falcon Tire turn 14 distribution, Subaru BRZ. And here we go, Dai Yoshihara. Transitions into that rear clipping zone. Look at that, filling it all the way with that Falcon Tire smoke. Boom, on that first front clip. A little bit of the body work flexing, but no big deal, as he flexes his horsepower muscle through the track and across the finish line. Well done, Daijiro Yoshihara.
Well, a solid run for Daijiro Yoshihara. He had that 86 on run number 1, so he already had something solid in the bank. Now trying to go a little bit bigger here. You can see he's very high on the bank, stays consistent. He basically had full lock coming down off the bank, then wraps back around very tight. Now, then watch right here. He gets into this last outer zone very early, and then he stays on it all the way without having to adjust angle or pull any out. Solid, solid run from Daijiro Yoshihara. Very, very little to criticize.
A 95, currently number 1, Dai Yoshihara, and rightfully so for Dai Yoshihara, a 95, our current number 1 qualifier. Getting the Black Magic number 1 qualifier cash and check and a case of product from Black Magic. So who's going to get the cash, who's going to get the buy run, and the bragging rights here at Uncharted Territory, as it's been deemed Orlando Speed World Round 2, the Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship presented by Blackview Dash Cameras. Will Dominican Republic's own Jonathan Castro step up? Jarrod, Mental Dom, Nexon Tires, Toyota Racing GT86. Flying the DR flag, loud and proud. Well executed on that first front clip. Transitions, you saw it on the second. Now into that outer zone. These guys are really having their way with this track. Sage, I mean, that was a great job there. Again, I know he has a lot of support from his DR family and fans.
Well, definitely, no doubt. He had a 71 on his first run. This is most certainly going to beat that. You can see pretty good job on the bank. Would have been a little bit nicer if he could have locked into that angle a little bit earlier and then stayed tight. But watch this as he leaves the second inside clip. He gets right into that outer zone. That yellow standing marker where we have the start and finish line, or the start line, is also the first marker for that outer zone. He gets into it super early, and this should better that 71 by quite a bit.
And it does. An 82 for Jonathan Castro. As Michael Essa warms up his Achilles radial tires, the Essa Autosports BMW. Michael Essa, Ryan, taking a look at his score. I believe he had an 87, is it? An 87 for Michael Essa on his first run. My assessment on his first run, he put the car in the right places. He had when he went to initiate, it almost looked like he was moving in slow motion, and then he really turned it up. And Ryan, you made that observation with Ken Gucci, and it seemed like he had power on call. He was kind of maybe sandbagging, that just had it and really didn't want to spin the tires too much. So seems to me that Essa has that kind of approach too. Both these guys coincidentally in the Boost Brigade, the new brand available through Agretti Performance. Take a look at Boost Brigade. Michael Essa here, former Formula Drift champion, leads the start line. Essa Autosports on the door, Achilles on the corners. Throwing again, more angle at it. Seemed to be, it's almost like with every, again, that horsepower. It seemed like every time he hit the throttle, it just threw more angle at the car. This is what I was talking about, just tearing through the track. And the Achilles cotton just all around. And there is Michael Essa's second qualifying run. And with Essa an 87 on his first, Sage, does that better it?
Well, it's going to be close. I think it was a pretty solid run here. There's a couple things you can see on initiation right there. He just has a little bit of adjustment in the steering, but then he locks into a nice line here. Good angle coming off the bank right here. And you can see on that inside clip, right back around, and then the second inside clip. He could have gotten into this zone a little bit deeper here, but it's really, really nitpicking at that point. It's going to be right around that 87 or so, but nice run by Michael Essa.
91, a 91 for Michael Essa as he's beaten the beat, a 91. JTP, Justin Pollock, he was another fun driver, you know, coincidentally, you know, Chelsea Nofa, he's in a Mustang, JTP, he's in a Mustang, and those drivers, those two guys are known for their very impactful, just insane style. And here we go. So JTP, you see him, wow, really letting it hang out. The Weld Racing wheels are going around. Looks like a lot more control. Oh, you see him throw some angle at it, has to pull some of it out of it, but keeps the composure. Big angle. That Roush Performance Mustang is wound up. Woo.
Well, it certainly gives you an idea of what the vehicle is capable of. I mean, he's probably the only driver that is flicking back around between inside clip 1 and inside clip 2 with that amount of angle. He wasn't able to hold it all the way through this time like he did last time, but let's take a look at this here. Watch this whip right here. Boom. I mean, that is basically past, that's full lock, and the rear bumper is basically in front of the front bumper. Incredible to watch right there. It'll be probably looked at as a tiny bit of a mistake, but overall, really fun run to watch.
Yeah, I mean, you saw him throw it out there in that transition. It looked like he had to take a little bit out of it just to wrap it around that second front clip. But that would have been fun to, you know, it seems like he's just having fun out there. Trying to land a big trick. There you go. 87. And 87, does that better his first run? It does by 7 points. Thank you, Ryan Lontaine. Let you add to that commentary, Sage. You hit it, just drop a little hand, just not a clean execution, bro. Here we go, Christos Blues, HGK, Achilles Radial BMW. Some say this round was his last year, and I couldn't agree more. As the Latvian lover brings it around, you see a quick correction around that final clip. He tightened it up to that front clip. By comparison to, he found that happy medium. From last year, he hit it in the final round against Osbo. It took away what I would call his win. And then on his first qualifying run, he was quite a bit off it. Sage.
Well, he had an 80 on run number 1. This is a run that he's definitely trying to better. And you can see as he comes off the bank here, he's really, really tight on that inside clip. And then back around here, you can see a much more regular and fluid motion as he comes through the first and second inside clip and then through the finish line here. So I think he will better it. It's just a matter of by how much.
It's almost like you heard the score yelled into your ear there, Ryan. An 87 from Christos Blues. And he does better his first score as throwing some fumes here is Juha Rintanen. Dropping some bass is DJ Daryl David. Christops Blush. I splashed the pot. Here we go, Juha Rintanen. No matter what, he always finish because he's from Finland. STR Racing Wheels next in tires as he is throwing down some funk right now and filling the stadium and our announcer's booth with some stank right now as the fire is ablazing from Juha Rintanen and Ryan Sage. What do you got?
Well, it seems like every driver is getting better on this second run here, especially those wanting to get a higher score and get up into the better bracket here. You can see Juha Rintanen, which is 78, doing a pretty sweet job right there on that first inside clip. Now back around here on the second inside clip, just on that second hash mark. He's a tiny bit shallow as he starts to get into this last outer zone, but then reaches out towards the end, and a nice finish there by Juha Rintanen.
And look at these guys just upping the ante. An 86 for Juha Rintanen. Jumps it up, 8 points. Ryan Sage. What did we have for Matt Field on his first run?
8-0.
An 80 from Matt Field. And again, he's one of those drivers to watch. Exciting. He's got the signature neon yellow around the circumference of his car, but running the, let's call it what it is, throwback Falcon livery, teal and blue. Matt Field throwing it in hard. The Beast from the Bay is looking to get even a higher score because right now the top 4, potentially 5 positions, no, excuse me, top 4 positions right now have those buy runs. And Field, his fangs and claws are showing here on that run. The Beast from the Bay, 777. We'll see if he strikes gold.
Well, an extremely quick vehicle here. I mean, just visually, it's so fast watching here. You can imagine what it'll be like in head-to-head competition. Very, very nice job on the bank. Doesn't get all the way up there, but he stayed on a nice line. It was consistent. You can see the car bouncing around here a little bit as he tries to look for control. Moves outside that first inside clip, but stays on the hash mark there to avoid hitting it. And then here through the finish line, nice and smooth is Matt Field looking to better that 80.
An 83 for Matt Field, so he does better it. The Goosh, OG original Gooshy. Gretty Nexen Tires, Toyota Racing, GT86. The Goosh is loose. Through the start chicane. And into that rear clipping zone. Wow, look at that. Again, more angle at it towards the latter portion. Down to the flat section. Listen to that 2JZ. Just like butter. Well done, OG original Gooshy.
You're really trying to get that in people's minds,
I just really want to make it known that he's been around since day one.
That's true.
And he does throw up the west side quite a bit.
Well, great job here by Ken. I mean, look how high he is on the bank, and he did that from the beginning. Great job coming off the bank, wrapping into that first inside clip. Smooth fluid motion. He's a tiny bit long on that second inside clip, but you can see he allows that line right there to push him all the way into that zone. So he filled the outer zone much better than he did that second inside clip, and I'm sure he will better his first run.
Yeah, I mean, 95 from Dye, 91 Essa, Gooshy 90, Osbo 90. So we got some serious contenders for those top qualifying spots. Ken Gooshy got a 90. That is a 90. So, sorry, just kind of glanced over that, but Ken Gooshy with a 9-0. And here we go. Peter Vencek from Poland. The Werthouse Drift Team, Falcon Tire S15. Yeah, buddy. We'll see if he gets pole in position and out front. Nice job. Whoa, almost catching some air there. You can see it was a different line, different approach. Center course. Barely just exceeding that yellow line, but really fluid through the course.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen basically every driver on their second run really take it up a notch here. It seems like the thought process is let's get that first run in the books, get into the top 32, and then really trying to fight for position on this second run here. Peter does a great job on the bank through that first inside clip. great job of composure there. He's a little bit long on that second inside clip, but then nice and deep here in this final zone as he wraps around and just taps that cone on the way out. So Peter was sitting on a 78, and no doubt he will better that.
All right. All right, so a 77. So a 78 on his first run. So unfortunately,
I was wrong.
It's you're not a judge, but yeah, and elaboration there from the judges late on his entry, later as initiation, excuse me, late on his initiation. Montaigne?
Yeah, there are 10 points for initiation, and Andy gave him, how much did you give him on initiation? He gave him 4 out of 10 for that initiation right there. So that was a big chunk of points lost immediately right there. We need them to initiate by that last red and yellow marker on the fence, and unfortunately he did it beyond that, so his initiation was not ideal.
So a 78 will stand to be the better of the two. He's one of the few drivers that didn't better his second run, but again, that late initiation. All right, so you can see the standings there. Dai Yoshihara, Essa, Gushi, Osbo, Dean. Can they better it? And Vaughn Gittin Jr. was our #1 qualifier from Long Beach. Can he go back-to-back, be #1 qualifier? We saw how poised he was on that first run. We'll see if he throws some more attitude at it. Oh, and tapping the wall once, twice, and coming to a halt. Okay, so yeah, that could have been ugly, but it looks like keeps it off the wall. And this is where I think it's really awesome to have these bye runs for our #1 qualifying drivers, or some of the top drivers getting bye runs, because Vaughn had a good score, but he knows if he gets a top score, he's going to get a bye run in the top 32 bracket.
Well, let's just take a look at this this contact here. I mean, this looks like an incredible job of saving the vehicle here. A lot of times when you see the rear bumper hit like that at angle, it forces the front into the wall, and then you got massive damage. Vaughn anticipated that was going to happen. It looks like he saved the vehicle there from major damage, and was able to not only take his run from run #1, stay in the top 32, but keep the repairs minimal for his team and staff in order to have the best competitive vehicle for tomorrow.
So he had an 80 on his first run. He does not better that. That will be an incomplete run on his second run, giving himself a 0. So an 80 stands to be the better of the two, it being the first run. Dean Carnage Carney, our next driver, as we are into our top 8 driver. That is Dean in the Oracle Lighting Dodge Viper on Achilles radial tires. And here we go. Dean Carnage Carney, Oracle Lighting Dodge Viper. Throwing it in, nice job. Almost tapping that wing on the wall. He's been known to do that. Shed some weight mid-drift. Carnage living up to his name. You can see him just exceeding that yellow line. Didn't knock down too many points, as Lantain pointed out early on.
Well, run #1 here for Dean in 88, so already a solid score. You can see that little mistake there you mentioned, Jarrod, on the bank. He is nice and high there as he comes off. He's going to take a nice line right in here to the first inside clip, and then right here on the second inside clip, very tight here, and then right into that zone, which is a great job there. But he does lift up that rear wheel just a tiny, tiny bit, so going for a risky move, maybe pay off not as much as he would have liked, but overall solid for Dean.
An 87 is his second run, and 88 is his first. That stands to be the two. An 87 on a second run, but his first run of an 88 is the better of the two. Chris the Force Forsberg, 3-time Formula champion, NOS energy drink. 370Z on hand-cooked tires. Pulls it into that rear clipping zone, standing on it. the V8 under the hood. You can hear him kind of banging the gears there in that transition. Didn't look as fluid as his first run in the transition, but liked it. Sage, what do you think?
Well, let's take a look here as Chris Forsberg heads down into his second run. He's got that 84. Little tiny hiccup on initiation, then gets right to angle there. Nice job on the second half of the bank. Right here, maybe transitioned a little bit unlike he would have wanted to in that section of the course there, and maybe lose a few points in that section, but gets back on it, finishes up. Certainly will be looking to try to better that 84. Question is, will he be able to?
And Forsberg had I believe it was an 84 on his first run, an 84. Now he gets an 86, an 86 on his second run, and 86 on his second run, and that puts him into 12th position. And here is Matt Kaufman, car number 959. You can see our leaderboard. Yoshihara still sits up top. That 95 is going to be hard to beat. Essa with a 91, Gushi with a 90, Osbo with a 90, and Dean with a 89. Here we go, Matt Kaufman. Look at that, lighting up the tires, already out of the gate. The wheel speed, just throwing it in from the start. The necks and tires are blazing. Underneath that of the S chassis of Matt Kaufman, powered by the Ford V8. And Kaufman brings it across. And right from the start, watch him just blazing. Look at this blazing trail.
Well, Matt Kaufman continuing his momentum here in run number 2. You can see that fluidity up on the bank. He basically just locks in on that line and stays right there. He's at good angle, now comes off the bank right into that first inside clip. Good movement here. Very deliberate through that center section of the course as he hits that second inside clip. And then through the finish line for Kaufman, looking to better that 86.
Remember, we do have Pro 2 this evening as Kaufman, he gets an 88. An 88 on his second score, and he does better it. So we are now into our top 5 standing drivers. Top 5, Frederick Osbo, the Rockstar Energy Drink. Necks and tires, Toyota Racing Corolla IM. It's a mouthful, but he's got the hatchback that he can fit all of it on there. Has the Norwegian Hammer. AEM intakes, RSR. See all the sponsors there on the side. 2015 Formula Drift champion, Frederick Osbo on his second run. And Osbo currently with a 90. That is in a good position. Is he going to go to even just better his 90? Yes, he is. Pushing for it. Slams down. The car, or I should say the line not being disrupted. Ryan Sage, is this enough to take out that #1 spot?
I really like the way that he comes off the bank. He had that nice arcing turn that just looked like it made sense, and he was still able to hit that inside clip. Watch here as he initiates into the bank here, trying to maximize angle here. More angle into the car, nice smooth rotation right into that first inside clip, then back around here. Just a tiny bit on the outside of that first hash marker, and then a little bit late into that second outer zone. But overall, a pretty solid run there for Frederick Osbo, who was at one point our #1 qualifier. He had that 90.
Well, again, Dai Yoshihara leads the charge with the 95. Frederick Osbo lands where on his second run? The Rockstar Energy Drink, a 93. A 93, so puts him up to the #2 position. The Rockstar Energy Drink, Toyota Racing, Toyota Corolla IM. So, top 5 driver. Here we go. So that was a 93 for Osbo. Odi Bakshis. Odi Bakshis currently with an 85. But just knowing Odi, you know, this is where you push for it to get those top spots in order to get that bye run and advance through the top 32 bracket. And here we go, Odie, Falcon Tires, S15 on field suspension. And Odie gets high on the bank. You could see, you could really see inside the cockpit of his car. He saw the car being jarred and therefore rocking his steering wheel, but stays positioned and poised. Well done there by Mr. Bakshis.
Well, Odie with that mid-80s score here. You can see nice aggressive initiation there. Goes right to angle, stays on it, very high on the bank. And now as he comes down on the bank or off the bank into that flat section, he's going to be tight on that first inside clip. Slight adjustment there, but very early into that second outer zone, and tries to keep that line nice and tight all the way around. Odie Bakshis, run number 2 in the books.
89 and 89 bumps him up to that number 5 position. So again, unofficially, the top 4 drivers will be receiving buys. Bakshis in that number 5 position, just outside of it. Yoshihara, our points leader, Osbo, Essa, and Gushi. Will Ryan Turk better as he, on his first run, had an 89 and 89 from Ryan Turk. He's just right there in the mix, just about 6th. Oh, and Ryan Turk really dragging the wall in that gum out. Hankook tires, nameless performance, Toyota Racing GT86. And listen to that throttle all the way through. Well done by 4-1. What's the info?
Yeah, I mean, not much you can do more on the bank, especially towards the latter part here in terms of the distance between the back bumper and the bank. You can see as he initiates right here, you can really get a good look at just how close to the bank he is. He throws up a bunch of tire that was laid down on the course. Amazing job on that first inside clip. Right there, a tiny flub and a little bit long on that second inside clip. And he gets into that second outer zone a little bit late, but all the way through the rest of that outer zone, he was nice and locked into that deep part of the section. So nice job by Ryan Turk.
Yeah, that was an exciting, fun run to watch. Is he going to get into those one of the top 4 spots? 93, and he does. Ryan Turk with a 93 puts him into that 3rd position in the gum out. Nameless performance, Toyota Racing GT86. So, sitting 2nd in points after round 1. He got 2nd place 3 times in a row. We're talking about at round 1, then we had our Motegi Racing Super Drift Challenge at the Long Beach Grand Prix. He got 2nd at both evenings, Friday and Saturday night. Here we go. Alex Hilbrun, Ika Madness Racing, Monster BMW, field suspension on it. His eyes are on the prize, an 88. An 88 on his first run. Whoa, and that's not going to get it done. So Yoshihara, Osbo, Turk, Essa, top 4 drivers. So it looked wild. He looked like he just pushed it and just pushed it too hard.
Well, that was that center section getting the best of Alex here. Let's take a look at it one more time. You can see on the bank, he's got a good position here on that first inside clip. And then right here, boom, boom, back end comes out a bit too wide, can't hold the angle, and we'll have a throwaway.
All right, so right now, James Dean, the Word House, car number 130 on Falcon Tires, the S15. From Ireland, James Dean. I gotta assume he's the tallest gentleman out here in Formula Drift in the grid right now, formerly held by Rob Primo. Congratulations to him and his wife for just recently getting married, Primovic. So Yoshihara, Osbo, Turk, Essa, those unofficially, those drivers will have a bye run in the top 32 bracket. Right now, James Dean fighting for one of those spots. He has an 89, so he's not in that mix right now. He's currently sitting 7th. Is he going to push hard enough to try to gain one of those top 4 positions? Or is he going to rest on his laurels? I have to assume it's going to be the first. James Dean, our final driver here Qualifying round 2 of the Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship presented by Blackview Dash Cameras. He won round 1. Can he be a top contender here in Orlando? Tight on the hash marks. Into the second clip, just off of the first. Riding the yellow line. A 95 from Dio Shihara. Ryan, that's undeniably a great run, but is it enough? I think he's just shooting for a top 4 spot.
Well, we definitely have to look at the details here when you're trying to beat a 95. He initiates very smooth. I mean, very high on the bank. Bumper is right there, comes off, has a nice arc as he heads down to inside clip 1. Good fluid transition through to inside clip 2. Now watch the back of the car. Just scoots right into the very first section of that outer zone, and not a lot of drivers are doing that. That's where you're seeing some extra points. I mean, there's not a lot to criticize there. A 95 is a very big standard, but it's certainly going to be up there.
A 92, so he gets in the 4th position. So unofficially, that would be the final spot, gaining a bye run in the top 32 bracket. I say that unofficially till we make it to head-to-head competition tomorrow. But tonight and today, we do have an autograph session, 2:30 to 3:30, and then practice, 3:45. And the autograph session is at the Formula Drift podium. If you haven't seen it, it's over in the paddock. It's open paddock. It's complimentary. Compliments of us. We'll be back here with Pro 2 at 5:15 for Pro 2.